You're watching Morning Express. If you're just joining us, we're waking up to the sad news of the death of Kiambaa Member of Parliament Paul Koinange. He succumbed to COVID-19 complications at Nairobi Hospital this morning. The Member of Parliament served as a departmental committee on administration and national security as well. He was elected on a Jubilee ticket and has served as a representative for the Kiambaa constituency since August 2017. Just to get you updated, Paul Koinange, Member of Parliament for Kiambaa constituency, is dead. He died this morning at Nairobi Hospital following complications, having gotten COVID-19. This news is just getting to us, and the President has sent a message of condolences to his family, friends and the people of Kiambaa constituency, terming the leader as one who was a stable leader and committed to unity and the development of the country. The Member of Parliament has served Kiambaa since August 2017. And here are some of the tweets that have come up to condole with the members of Kiambaa constituency as well as friends and families. Honorable Jaguar has said on Twitter he is saddened to receive the news of the demise of Honorable Paul Koinange, MP Kiambaa constituency. My sincere condolences to his family, friends and constituents. May his soul rest in eternal peace. And attached to that, of course, is a picture of that legislator. And we are, if you're just joining us, we are waking up to the sad news of the demise of a Member of Parliament for Kiambaa constituency, Paul Koinange. He died at Nairobi Hospital following complications, having gotten COVID-19. So COVID-19 complications have claimed yet another leader from the country, and we have had messages of condolences that are coming in from the President, terming him as a stable leader, as well as a Jaguar, who is also a legislator, saying he is saddened by the demise of this Member of Parliament, Paul Koinange, who has represented Kiambaa constituency since 2017. Joining us via phone is Rosaline Obala, who is the Standard Media Group's political desk head. Rosaline Obala, could you tell us more about this legislator and what the people of Kiambaa have lost in a leader?
Thank you very much, Crystal. It's very unfortunate that we're waking up to the sudden demise of the Kiambaa legislator. This leader came into the limelight in 2017 when he was elected the MP. And if you remember 2017, this is one of the leaders that the President actually settled on to become the chair of the Security and Administration Committee in Parliament. During that came at a time that the country was very divided, if you remember, after the disputed 2017 presidential elections. But he was one leader who was very unifying, just as the President has said. He was one leader who was always reaching out to both sides of the political divide to unite. As a chairman, until his demise, even if you talk to the legislators from both sides, they will tell you that he was a leader who was always listening. He was always available to listen to their concerns. He pushed for unity, even in terms of the BBI process. Anytime we were engaging him, he was talking about the unity of the nation, bringing the nation together and not being divisive. Thank you.
Absolutely. When you, in your interactions through your profession with the legislator, we've had the sentiment from the President saying he stood for unity, stability and progress of the country. From what you perceived interacting with them, how was this represented? And for the people of Kiambaa, what would they point at as symbols of his commitment to unity, stability and progress?
Just as I had indicated earlier, this was one leader that when you approached, when you talked about this leader, even in terms where there were divisive views within the committee, he was always coming out as a uniting factor, and he was looking at the country first, not the leader's interest or the regional interest. From where I sit, I think Kiambaa people have really lost a true leader. just like the president has said, just like other legislators have talked about. Anytime you met this leader, he was always talking about touring parts of this country and ensuring that everybody is satisfied and the security sector is well guarded. If you talk to a number of members of that committee, and even sometimes when there were heated debates in the House arising from that security committee, his response was always that he will address each and every concern as it comes, and not because there are people from the Jubilee side that sponsored him to Parliament, but because these are issues of national concern that should be put on the front, because unity of a country is a development of a country.
Thank you very much. Rosaline Obala is the chief on the political desk here at the Standard Group. Now, let's... we're also being joined by Honorable Mwathi, who's a Limuru Member of Parliament, to tell us what this means to him, the loss of yet another leader in the country to COVID-19. Honorable Mwathi, thank you so much for joining us. How does this news, how have you received the news of the passing of Honorable Paul Koinange?
Well, I've received the news with shock and disbelief. Honorable Koinange was not just a member of parliament to me, he was a friend, and he was also a neighbor, and was a very calm chairperson of the Committee on Security, accommodating everybody, allowing anybody from every walk of party and political party affiliation to get into his office for any assistance that required. So he was one of the rare persons who never showed any political inclination when it came to his work.
Right, and you have the president has described him also as a gentleman. We've heard Rosaline Obala, a political desk editor, telling us about how he was a uniting factor. Could you express from the perspective of his political stance what he meant for the leadership cadre of this country?
Yes, he really was very uniting. I can tell you he was our chairperson, those people who are actually helping government to roll out the programs. And he used to tell us, I'm not just a chairman of people from one political wing. I'm a chairperson of the person who has goodwill for this country. Any person who has goodwill for the development of this country, I can always share in that line. So, well, I would say he was such a polite and quite focused leader who was liked by all from all walks of life.
Indeed,
it's really a very big loss for us, and we are just trying to come in terms with it. But it comes to say that COVID is real. It's so real that it takes the low and mighty.
Okay, and Honourable Peter Mwathi, as we conclude your take on the passing of Honourable Koinange, I would love to know, given that this is yet another leader the country is losing to COVID-19, what would your message be to the country, and at the same time, what would you say to the people of Kiambaa, who I'm sure this has hit very close to home and obviously is very painful?
Well, I just condole with the family of the late MP and also the people of Kiambaa who are my neighbors. I'll tell them I know it's a big loss, but God is still great. We shall walk the remainder of the journey together, take heart. But to the entire country, again, please let us observe COVID protocols. I'm not saying he didn't, but it's good always to heed the protocols given by government, and make sure that we do all that is required to prevent us from getting this second variant, which is very devastating and deadly. And to the government, I think it's very important for us to get ways of rolling out mass vaccination of the nation, because we can see the effects of the current variant of COVID, given that we have gone up to 26.6%. Is really, really going to be very tough for us to stay alive without this vaccination. So I would urge the government to even hold some programs and import the vaccination so that we can deal with this issue.
Thank you very much. That is Honorable Mwathi Peter Mungai, who's joining us via phone, telling us his sentiments on the passing of Kiambaa Member of Parliament Paul Koinange, who succumbed to complications of COVID-19. Also joining us via phone is, Majority Leader of the National Assembly of Kenya, Amos Kimunya, who will be giving us his sentiments also on the sudden passing of Paul Koinange, Member of Parliament of Kiambaa. Thank you for joining us this morning. What are your sentiments on the passing of Honorable Koinange?
This morning was rather sad, receiving the news of the loss of such a fine gentleman, the late Paul Koinange. It's very difficult to even start addressing him as a late. We all saddened, and I want to, on behalf of my family, my people of Kibetiri, and the members of Parliament, to really wish to send our deep, heartfelt condolences to the family, the people of Kiambaa, and Kenyans in general, and all the people within the security sector, where he really took a lead role in oversighting the national security. We've all lost a fine gentleman, and we hope and pray that God will rest his soul in eternal peace.
Honorable Kimunya, far from that, he has been described as kind by yourself. We've heard the President describing him as a gentleman and a uniting factor, someone who loved peace. When you look at his politics, what do you think other leaders, political leaders, could pick from that legacy that he's left behind, both as a politician and as a person?
He was a calm, unifying factor, what you would call, the quintessential fine gentleman. And I believe there's a lot we can learn in terms of how people embrace themselves and, no controversies, trying to unite people from different areas and just being focused on the bigger picture, which was really security for Kenya, national unity, and service to the people of Kiambaa.
Absolutely. Honorable Kimunya, also yesterday you did comment about leaders who have gotten the coronavirus. Of course, it's not just for the leaders. The whole country is smack in the middle of a third wave, and this is not something that is good given how many people the country is hemorrhaging to this virus. So could you give us a recap of what you said and and your feelings on that today, given that yet another legislator has passed on?
Well, it's just the passing of Honorable Koinange, a man who always had his mask on, took maximum care, just tells us that we are all vulnerable. And we just need to be extra cautious, not just in protecting ourselves, but in protecting others. He protected himself, but perhaps we did not protect him as much. And hence, we ended up losing him. And I think it's what we need to start thinking of as Kenyans is that we through our actions, we can affect others in addition to affecting ourselves. And it's just calling for extra care, extra caution. Let's stay home if you don't have to move. Keep the social distance, observe all the protocols, and together we can actually beat the third wave. It's bad, it's vicious, but we can do something about it by just following the protocols.
Thank you very much for making the time to join us and give us your sentiments on the passing of Kiambaa Member of Parliament Paul Koinange. That has been Majority Leader of the National Assembly of Kenya, Honorable Amos Kimunya. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, if you're just tuning in, the Kiambaa Member of Parliament Paul Koinange has passed on. He was the legislator who was for Kiambaa since 2017. He was elected on a Jubilee Party ticket. The President has given his sentiments on this recent passing of a leader in the country to obviously owing to COVID-19, and he has said this was a leader who was stable, who was for peace and very committed to the development agenda of the country. He has said that this man was a gentleman, he was kind, and these are sentiments that have been echoed by Amos Kimunya, Majority Leader of the National Assembly, as well as Peter Mwathi, who's a Member of Parliament of Kiambu, and our political desk editor